Welcome back to Shut Up and Ball. I am Aaron Chow, accompanied by Mr. John Harris. And we're here to make our Week 12 picks against the spread, specifically our Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, whatever you want to call it, picks, because we're making these games first. Got a few of them, and we'll start off there. Before I throw it to the picks real quick, I just want to ask this, because let's get a little bit personal, of Thanksgiving, food-wise. I never asked you this question, so I'm curious your answer. What's your go-to? Like, what's your favorite? If you had to pick one thing, like, are you a turkey guy, or pie guy? You can pick dessert too, because
I would say probably mashed potatoes, but to be honest,
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Thanksgiving food person.
Oh, okay.
Like it's fine, but like I don't know. I'm not like I know I have friends that like love Thanksgiving because they love the food. I'm not like the biggest turkey fan, not the biggest like cranberry sauce fan. Like some of the staples of Thanksgiving, not my favorites personally.
Gotcha. See, I really like Thanksgiving, so I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum, but that's and my family makes a bunch of different things, and I have like an American and Vietnamese style, so a little bit different. But I think my favorite.
See, that might be something I would vibe more with, because just like the typical classic, like turkey and stuff, I'm like,
and I don't know, but to my grandfather, he literally like he's retired, so he literally prepares for this stuff like 2 days in advance, so he can afford to take more time into some things, because some people, they have the craziness of, I gotta make all the food in one day, and I've been with him to plan that stuff. That's crazy. But salute to all those people who spend all day cooking, because that's tough. But my favorite would probably be, it's either between stuffing or the sweet potato casserole that we make. They put cranberries when we bake them, so it adds like a fresh tartness. Actually, I'm making it this year, so that's usually my favorite. So anyways, if you're watching on YouTube, which we are on the road to 1,000 subs there, comment whatever your go-to. If you had one thing to pick from Thanksgiving, food-wise, what would it be? But anyways, we're going to be talking Thanksgiving games first, obviously. Going to start off with the Detroit Lions, as they're one of the teams that always plays on Thanksgiving. They are hosting the Buffalo Bills, so kind of them after, the Buffalo had that snow out. Let Buffalo play last week. I don't know if you saw the social media posts, but Bills, they locked the doors, didn't break any tables this time, and they're ready for Thursday. But nonetheless, Bills, they're going to be favored. They are favored by 9.5 against the Lions here. Lions on that 3-game win streak. Bills trying to stay on top of that AFC East in terms of that whole mess. So John, who do you have between these two teams? Do you think the Lions can maybe keep it close or pull off the upset? Or you think Buffalo takes care of business?
I don't know who wins this game. Like I would say Buffalo, but I'm taking the Lions against the spread. 9.5 feels big. Big spreads have burned me in the past. And the underdogs, I don't know. They're kind of cooking. Lions are at home. So what they're saying is that Buffalo is really like 12.5 points better. Now, it is a little interesting because Buffalo did just play in Detroit. But that being said, to my knowledge, they flew back to Buffalo. So I don't know. I'm just going with Detroit here. I do think that maybe the snow could impact their practice schedule as well. And you're playing against Detroit, who's not the greatest of teams, but I think that they can maybe just keep it feisty, keep it close, maybe lose by a touchdown or so. So I'm taking the Detroit Lions to cover against the spread. I do expect Buffalo to win because their defense isn't very good, and I think Buffalo can shred them. But I think that Detroit can maybe keep it close.
I am going Buffalo. I just feel like this is a little bit of a perfect storm, per se. We saw the run offense go a little bit going last week. And we know Detroit's defense isn't great, especially their secondary. So I imagine if this is kind of a get-right game for Josh Allen in the passing attack, this would be one. And in regards to the Detroit offense versus Buffalo defense, I think Buffalo's defense, while I've been concerned with their, especially their run defense, I think they can sack most of their eggs in the run defense box. And outside of Amon or St. Brown, no other wide receivers really scare you. So I imagine they'll have a game plan, to take him away and try to take away the spots that he likes to run routes to, and just get pressure on Goff. So kind of banking just on the fact that the Bills get it together this one. The dome kind of helps out the fact that they'll be leaning on their passing attack most likely. So I think that kind of plays more into their favor. So I am going Buffalo to cover John is going with Detroit to at least cover or keep it close. So we'll see if Buffalo can do so for me. So already starting off with the difference there. Now we go to another staple, which is your Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They are at home at Jerry's World, favored by 8.5, hosting the New York Giants. Many believe this is a litmus test for the Giants. Okay, you lost against the previously mentioned Lions. This is it. Like, are y'all for real? Do you think that the Giants can pull this one out, or you think Dallas wins and covers?
I think Dallas can win, but I'm going with the Giants once again. Big spread, and I think that a little bit baked into that might be some overreaction to last week against the Vikings, and the Lions also conveniently losing to the Lions. So, like, the Lions lose to a bad team, the Cowboys win against a good team. Therefore, you feel like they're a lot further apart than maybe they are. The Cowboys were able to win pretty comfortably last time. That was with Cooper Rush. So I still expect them to win, but I don't know. I think that the Giants, they could maybe keep it close. So I'm not going to overreact to what I saw last week, because I mean, even if you did that last week with like the Vikings, they beat the Bills, and so you're like, oh my gosh, like they're a really good team. They should totally beat the Cowboys. That's just not how the NFL works, right? So I'm going to take the Giants here against the spread. Don't know who wins. I still think the Cowboys should win, but I'm going to take the Giants to cover.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident that Dallas will win. If we were just doing pure, like, who win or lose, I'd probably make them a lock this week. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Giants. One of those ones I'm kind of glad there's a spread. I just don't see them, regardless, blowing out Dallas. And especially last week, we kind of saw the formula of how you can kind of slow down their offense. And especially losing Wan'Dale Robinson. It seems like every time they get wide receiver going, not named Kadarius Toney, or even him too, injury or something unfortunate happens. So, Sterling Shepard was having a really good start this season. He gets hurt. And, obviously Wan'Dale Robinson. So they still have Slayton, but, I expect Dallas to take him away. And, especially if he matches up against Diggs, he's been amazing this season. So I don't think I'll have any problems there. So, but the Giants always find a way to keep games close. They've kind of done so for the most part. So that's also what I'm banking on. And I expect Dallas to, their offense not to have the performance they have last week. A little more bumpy. This Giants defense is pretty solid. They'll probably throw some curveballs like they did in the first time. Load the box, throw some exotic blitzes. That might get Dallas. But I just don't see Dallas, though, messing up too much. And I think that they'll handle this game at the end of the day. So both going Giants. John probably invoking the pod curse there. Worked last week. So now we go to the aforementioned Minnesota Vikings. Funny how these games kind of intertwine from last week. The Vikings, they're at home again. Hopefully they can have a different result and performance altogether from Sunday, because short week, they got to turn that around. They are favored by 3.5, hosting the New England Patriots. Patriots off that ugly but gutsy performance against the Jets, and that win. Who do you have here, John? Patriots or Kirk Cousins in prime time?
I am going with the Patriots. I'm not taking Kirk Cousins in prime time. The Patriots also have a pretty good defense, and they've impressed me so far. And I do worry about the Vikings' defense ability to stop Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris. That combo has looked good in recent weeks since Damian Harris came back from injury. Overall, I don't feel too confident in the Vikings, especially off the way they lost last week. And now you got to go against Bill Belichick, who, Bill Belichick might have just learned a whole lot based on what happened with the Cowboys defense last week. And he might be employing a lot of those things that Dan Quinn did to slow down this Vikings offense. So I'm just not going to test it. I still think the Vikings have a chance to win for sure. But I'm going with the underdog here for the Patriots to cover, and honestly would not be shocked if they were to win.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see if there's an update on Christian Darrisaw. Not that affects my pick. I'm going New England regardless. Like you mentioned, I think very good defense, very good run defense, and their passing defense has kind of come along too. Like I mentioned with Tennessee previously, but this kind of derives from New England. Always their defenses always kind of start out slow, struggling. They may have a bad performance or two, but then as the season goes on, they start figuring out how to put all their pieces together. What each individual player's strengths are, because those two are two teams that use a lot of guys in different ways. So that's, creates more of a headache as time goes on for offenses, because account for what personnel's and who's here. But yeah, I think the Patriots will slow down the Minnesota offense. And yeah, like you mentioned, I think they'll do enough on their side of the ball on offense, running the ball, short passing game. Mac Jones has been okay the past few weeks, been more focused on taking care of the ball, letting the defense kind of carry them / just taking up whatever opportunities they do have, not forcing anything. So, yeah, I think, New England, it's not, once again, kind of not a sexy way of winning, but hey, they do so, and that's what I think they're going to do here against the Minnesota, especially on a short week. I think it's tough for Minnesota to kind of bounce back and self-evaluate and fix some of the things and issues that they'll have, and especially with, like I said, can't really find anything on Darius Hall. I'm assuming he's going to be out for this one since he was, like I said, short week. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does not play. But very good left tackle for them he's been. So yeah, I am going New England with John as well. Those are the Thanksgiving picks. So yeah, as per usual, like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening through any podcast medium, however you rate it, please feel free to leave us a rating and such. And our socials are at Shut Up and Ball Pod on Instagram and at Shut Up and Ball on TikTok and Twitter. But yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy your football games, and we'll still be bringing you the rest of the picks later in the week. But other than that, enjoy your day, and hope you get some Black Friday shopping.